Hello and welcome to the Results with Ronnie podcast, Exceptional Relationship and Sex Series, Episode 1. My name is, as you guessed by now, Ronnie Walker. Now, before I get started, I just wanted to cover a few things because as I decided to put this series together, I wanted it to be with a picture, had the camera, video, and you could see this as well as hear this. And the closer it got to the date, I really decided that I would take some time out and just really scale it back. I had this full-blown production I really wanted to do, and we will get to that. But for now, I really wanted to take the time to just have the audio go. I really wanted to see if I could touch your heart and what I have to share in these next couple of minutes. So I can assure you, moving forward, we're going to have 4K, 8K. We're going to have a nice set. You're going to get to see me and all my facial expressions and to see the changes in tonality that happens when we're talking live into a camera. But for now, I really just wanted to take some time that maybe if you close your eyes or if you're not, of course, if you're driving, but just take some time to just listen to what it is that I have to share. And moving forward in the future, I can assure you I have some incredible voices of men and women that have some things to share that I know that you can grow from. I mean, these are just handpicked, very well vetted, and I know that they're going to add value not only to this podcast, but to you and your life and your relationships as well. So for the first at least 2 episodes, you're just going to have the distinct pleasure and honor of listening to me. So again, my name is Ronnie Walker. And so how did I end up in this space? Do we need another voice talking about relationships and sex? And see, the answer to that question, I'm going to leave that up to you. But see, I ended up in this space, funny enough, like a number of other people ended up in the space in which they're talking about relationships. And that's usually through a heartbreak. Now, for me personally, like many of you in your journey, you had someone in your life that you knew was going to be the one. You're going to get married, you're going to build this huge empire, and you're going to ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. And then you realize that it wasn't to be. And see, for me, I put the money down on the ring. I was going to surprise her, and everything came crashing down. And I'll go more in the details of that in the other episodes. But just to give you a frame of how I got to this space. Now, to extend on that just a little bit more in my personal story, the journey was for me after feeling the pain of the heartbreak. And ladies, make no mistake about it. When people tell you that men are not as emotional as men, well, okay, we can debate that, but trust me, men are emotional. It's one thing if they're doing the breaking up. It's another thing when someone else is doing the breakup. But men go through the same things that women go through in terms of a relationship that they thought was going to last forever. And see, for me, I knew that this was not something that I ever wanted to experience again. I mean, this was something I didn't even want to wish on my worst enemy. A heartbreak is horrific. That was, and when you're young and when it's what you feel is your first true love and you're going to go and be happily ever after, it was incredible. So what Ronnie did was that he took the time, and I've read every book there was on relationships. And funny is, at that time, there really wasn't that many. I attended more seminars. I bought more cassette tapes, which at that time it was cassette tapes. Then from there, VHS tapes. I did certifications. Trust me, I invested tens of thousands of dollars in trying to find a way to foolproof myself from ever getting hurt again. And here is what I found after all these years, and after all that money, and after all that time spent, that there is no foolproof way to keep yourself from being hurt again. Now, you can increase the odds that everything's going to work out wonderful, but the reality is you're dealing with another person, and that person may or may not evolve. the way you evolve, or maybe there may be some mistakes, or maybe you may have entertained the wrong person for your journey. Doesn't make them a bad person, but it may not be the person for you, or they feel the same way about you. But hopefully, through this journey that we're going on together in terms of relationships, and being not just a relationship, exceptional relationship, not just talking about sex, but exceptional sex, we want to make sure that we're putting ourselves in position from a mental spot and all the other levels that we're dealing with in ourselves to attract and entertain someone who is conducive to what we're trying to achieve and when we're talking about a relationship. So, what is an exceptional relationship and what is exceptional sex? Well, let me tell you what it's not. It's not perfection. And you'd be surprised that although people know this on an academic level, subconsciously a lot of them are looking for perfection because it's usually based on fear of not ever wanting to happen to start this process all over again. So through the efforts of trying to find perfection, you end up letting other part of red flags slip through the cracks. And then you find yourself in this whole cycle of it breaking up, you're healing, and then you're getting over the fear of going back into the dating world and things have changed. And again, if we look at today and dating and the rules of engagements, we're different than they were 10 years or 20 years ago. You know, the internet in and of itself is not that old. And we didn't have that. We didn't have dating apps. And now that we have that, so now you can either swipe left, right or left or whatever it may be. These things changed the face of what we know as dating or looking for quote unquote the one. And although there you will have those who believe that there is no one out there for them, I truly believe that we were created for relationships. I really do. I believe we were created for connection. We were created for intimacy. We truly, truly want to have someone in our lives that we can share these journeys and experiences with. I mean, again, going to a concert or going to some sort of sporting event is a lot more exciting with, 10, 15,000 people than it is if it's just you. So let's just say, for the sake of all of those listening to this podcast, that you truly, truly want a relationship. But some of you fear getting back into the world of a relationship because you've been hurt in the past. And part of this journey is helping you get over that fear. Part of that is helping you dealing with the healing so that you can then get to the part of overcoming your fear of getting into a relationship. So I don't want to sound as though I'm talking exclusively to men or exclusively to women. I really want to talk to you both. I really want to reach the hearts of you both because, of course, it's going to take you both to get to that point. And many of you are in relationships listening to this, and you're looking to take it to another level. So you may have what's considered a very good relationship or a solid relationship, but you feel that there's some things missing, or you may feel it's backsliding. And you know what? That's a beautiful thing in that you realize that there's some growth potential there. Because, if you've listened to me or read anything that I've posted on social media or any of my talks, I'm always talking about growth. If you really truly want to talk about happiness within yourself, within relationships, within your career, within your business, you have to be about growth and vision. Because if it's not growing, it's dying. And see, relationships is not something that is just a static place in time. This is not just something that you're going to do and connect with someone and go to the movies once in a while, do dinner once in a while, do a vacation, and it's just pretty much on autopilot. That's not what you want to do. I can assure you it may not happen in a week, it may not happen in a month, but at some point it's going to fizzle out. So you have to be about growth. And yes, growth does take work. When we talk about intimacy, intimacy takes effort, but it doesn't have to be painful. I mean, when you even think about the levels of intimacy, I mean, there's 5 different levels or different components of intimacy. You have emotional, intellectual, physical, experimental, and spiritual. And then you're talking about having your needs met. You're talking about certainty, the need of uncertainty, the need of significance, love and connection, and then you have growth and contribution. So now you have people running around and they know what their love language is and trying to see what the other person's love language is. And then you have those who says, well, Ronnie, this person is opposites. Opposites attract, and they do. But even to go deeper than that, you want to find out, it's not that you know what their needs are, but how do they go about meeting their needs? And if they're meeting their needs in a way that's not in alignment with how you meet your needs, this is when the conflict ensues. And that is not a recipe or something that you want to have concerning achieving an exceptional relationship and sex. What happens now if you feel that you've achieved everything that you want to achieve in a relationship, but that other person feels that there's room to grow? How do we address that? And these are things that we're going to go forth in terms of in this series. So it really, in a perfect scenario, it will be great if I could compile all of these years of me talking to relationships, people that are married, people that are not married, single people, be there from America, be there from the Caribbean, be there from Africa, be there from parts of Europe. It's amazing and fascinating. But you know what I've learned? That no matter how different we all are in some place, in some ways, there's still certain patterns that we all follow. And again, where does our model of love come from? Is it from our upbringing? Is it from environment that we got maybe from just everyday society? Friends? Our experiences? Because sometimes even though we were, raised a certain way, we tend to go out there and experiment, and sometimes some of us think that we know more than our parents. And we go out there and get our hearts bruised up a couple of times. And let's face it, the mindset that you had when you're in your teens is going to be different when you're in your 20s. It's going to be different when you're 30s, in your 40s, and your 50s. And so as you're looking to entertain another person in your life to share the rest of that life with, you want to make sure that they're vibrating on the same level. Because if not, then you already know. So if you want to increase your chances of a 70%, if we're going to quantify, of it being a successful relationship, what does that look like? For someone who obviously it's going to be different from someone who has a 50% chance. But here's something that people hear all the time, but not enough really embrace and accept. You ready for it? Here it is. It starts with you. It really, truly starts with you. So if I can ask one question of you, one question would be, what does an exceptional relationship and exceptional sex look like for you? What words have to be exchanged? What type of presence are you looking for from that person? What has to happen overall for you to define the relationship you're in or hope to be in as exceptional? Now, you may not want to use the word exceptional. You may want to use stupendous. Or or turbocharged or whatever the word may be. But you know that what you don't want is normal. This is something that you want to look forward to spending your time with that person. You want to have time away from the person that you'll have the opportunity to miss this person because, the absence, but that lends so much into the desire for that person, is having the opportunity to be away from that person for a while. So what does that look like for you? Write down a couple things. Again, you know what your love language is. You know how to get your needs met. What type of person do you feel you have to be to attract an exceptional person? And if you feel that you're already an exceptional person, well then, describe yourself. Because I cannot tell you enough of how important that is. You need to know you. And believe it or not, you would think that after all these years and after all of these books and seminars and symposiums, that people will have a handle of what needs to be done. But the thing about people is sometimes we're guilty of thinking that we know it all. And really, when you think about it, is there a right way? Is there a wrong way? What may work for me may not work for you. So this is why getting to know who you are is paramount. And so here we are. You're at a crossroads. You may be someone who is now thinking of getting back into the dating game. You may be someone who's in the dating phase and you're trying to find out if what you have, this person you're spending a little time with, is he or she the one? Or you may be in a relationship that you're looking to take to a next level because you know that there's so much more. Or what you envisioned has not come to fruition. And you don't want to give up. Or maybe you're in a relationship that's going through some challenging times. Is there still hope for it? And I would argue that if you still are questioning it, then the chances are there is hope. And I commend you for that because, as you know, we're in a state of being now that people are quick to give up on things. And I believe a good person, a good relationship is worth taking the extra time to find out what needs to be done, what could be addressed to go from good to great to exceptional. So, have you got your answer? And if so, read it back. Now remember, I'm not here to give you all the answers. I'm here to allow you to come up with answers yourself. Because in the end, it's you that's on this journey. Now part of it will travel together. But at some point, the podcast will turn off and it's just you and that person, or just you and that man or woman in the mirror. And the answers and the things that you think about is only going to help get you closer to what it is that you're looking to achieve when we're talking about exceptional. We want to talk about the different ways one can communicate. Because it's not what's said, it's how it's said. And we want to make sure that whenever we're communicating with someone, that you're coming from a place of love. And sometimes, as they say, the cleanliness of theory is no match for the messiness of reality. So you come with the best intentions, and then when you open your mouth, a totally different word salad comes out. And next thing you know, a door that you thought was open has now been closed. And so now you're one step forward, 5 steps back. But you know what? I will still give you credit for trying. And I believe if you are intentional in what you're trying to do and you express yourself, they will know that you meant the right thing as well. Hence, that's part of what an exceptional relationship is about. is being able to say, I'm sorry, being able to be vulnerable. And sometimes that means laughing together. Sometimes that means crying together. Sometimes that means taking a walk and just saying, you know what? Throughout it all, I'm glad I'm with you. Sometimes that's sitting down and planning out the relationship 5, 10 years, the things that you want to do, that you said you were going to do, but circumstances changed. And now you're back in a situation where now, hey, you know what? We talked about doing this for the past 1 or 2 years. Let's really just sit down, get a glass of wine, cup of coffee, and let's really map this thing out. Some of you couples have children that are now adults, and they're leaving the house and they're going on their own journey. So all that time and effort that you had pouring into your children, you're still parents, you now have back into your house. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't be having an exceptional relationship and sex while raising children, but as we can all agree that there are many couples that are having that challenge. And not all parents are in the same household. So there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of questions I'm going to ask of you, some of which what I think I'll provide you what I feel the answers are based on the experience of myself personally and experiences of other couples and single people throughout the country and the world. And some I'm just going to allow you to come up with. Again, I have some incredible guests that will be calling in. I have some that I'll be sitting down with. You'll get to know them. They'll get to know you. They're going to provide some values in your life. It's going to be incredible. And on this journey, again, this is not something that's always going to be cleared in one episode. Because of course I'm going to want you to come back again and again and again. But I do want to add some value. I do want to provide some results. Hence the name Results with Ronnie. So as I look at my time, I'm over 20 minutes. And one of the questions I'm going to ask of you is I'm going to solicit a question from you. And I want you to send me an email. And you're going to send this to Ronnie at resultswithronnie.com. Again, that's Ronnie, resultswithronnie.com. Because I was torn. Is this going to be a 15-minute podcast? Is it going to be a 30-minute podcast? Is it going to be a 45-minute podcast or an hour? And there are many trains of thoughts. So I really want you to say, you know what, Ronnie? I think hearing 15 minutes of your voice is enough. Others may want to put up with for 30. But please, I really want this to be about you. This is not about me and only my journey and here to talk about all that I've done. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to provide value to you. So I can share some things that's going to help improve yourself in your single standing, in your relationship standing, or if these premarital couples. This is for you. So also, if you also want to include some subjects that you want me to go over, by all means, Ronnie at Results with Ronnie. So if you want to reach out to me, you can also go to www.resultswithronnie.com. I have a free ebook that I'm giving to those who are looking to get back into the dating game. 7 key keys to successful dating. 7 successful keys to successful dating. And this is something that I assure you will add some value to you and to all those that are getting back into the dating game. With that, you can put down if you're interested in booking a consultation or coaching, be it relationship transformation, dating, and even sex coaching, as I'm a certified sex coach. So again, www.resultswithronnie.com and put in your request there. Also, getting back to giving me an idea of how long you'd like this podcast to be, you can email me at Ronnie@resultswithronnie. So thank you for taking the time to share with me. If you want to reach out to me on Instagram, you can reach out to me at official Ronnie Walker. On Twitter, Ronnie Walker 77. And you can find me on Facebook, Results with Ronnie coaching. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you tuning in on this inaugural podcast launch. Again, moving forward, we'll have video, 4K, 8K. We're going to put out all the bells and whistles and real cool music and intro. You're going to enjoy it. But more than anything, all that aside, I really want to give you more steak than sizzle in this time. I really want to focus more on the main course than it is the entrees and dessert. So in closing, I wish you well on your dating journey, your relationship journey, as well as the next levels of your dating and relationship. My name is Ronnie Walker, creator of the Results with Ronnie podcast. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Until next time. Bye-bye now.